There we go. Let me just delete that from Picardo. Forgot that I was streaming on there last time. Videos. Oh yeah, I forgot about that one. Okay. Let's see, keep this up. Trying not to do too much since I'm still backing things up. I don't know, I think I'll just do some doodles of random stuff. Let's grab... I don't know, I think I'll just do something random. Hello, Pablo. Yeah, I would have streamed yesterday, but I was backing up some files. Still am right now, but I think if I don't do too much, it won't crash or anything critical. But still about 126,000 files, so that's why I'm kind of just taking my time. Let's get the canvas just so. There we go. Oh, wrong button. There we go. One of my drives is in the way of my screen, so I'm trying to like maneuver around it. I hope everyone's doing alright though. Yeah, right now I'm just gonna draw random stuff. So let's grab you so I can draw you, and I'll put you on stream. There we go. Oops. I'm just doodling right now, so I'm not doing anything major. This is going to be a short stream, but still wanted to stream something. So yeah, let's just enjoy some dumb fun. Yeah, the week is alright. Didn't mean to halt things with me backing things up, but I didn't want to wait. I figured I'd just get it done now, so that way it doesn't interfere with other days. And it's only taking this long because this is a new drive that I got. But hopefully next time it won't have to take nearly as long, because it'll already have files that I already saved. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, if you're tired, don't feel the need to stay on too long. Just, you know, get some sleep. No worries if you need to rest. Let's just assume. Trying to see how her face would be if I did it this way. Yeah, that's the hard part with some of these characters. They weren't really envisioned to be in certain angles. But that's more on me. I mean, it's entirely possible to avoid having to draw her in this angle, but better to try it out anyway. I mean, you can always treat it like I do Jam, because Jam often gets in poses like this. This would be a little bit more. Fell asleep playing Pokemon. That's not bad. I know, my soft speaking isn't exactly booming, so you might fall asleep to me just yammering around. I was almost thinking of playing Yu-Gi-Oh! On stream. With my subpar decks. Maybe I will in the future. Yeah, still got Pokemon Smash and Pass. Still got a few ideas I wanted to do. Maybe I'll try doing the Pokemon one tomorrow. That way I'll have more time. Doing alright. Just having a quick short stream tonight because I'm backing things up right now. So I don't want to do anything too major. I'm just kind of doodling right now, just for the get some of the rust off, because it's been a while. Or, well, it's only been like a day since I drew anything, or was drawing anything, so just doing whatever. I don't know. I'm just having a surprised look on our face, or a nervous look. Welcome to Bible Studies. I do want to draw another outfit for Becky, but I think that one will have to be off stream. No! Shit! I accidentally bumped into one of my drives. Hopefully it wasn't anything important. Let me check. Hold on a moment. Alright, I'm back. And that is the calculator. That is not what I wanted to press. Yes, I accidentally unplugged this crap. No, this one's connected to here, so I want to unplug this and replug it in. And it should be fine because it wasn't a main drive that I needed. Now I'm just waiting for it to reconnect. But the backup's still going, so that's all that matters right now. You just have these two up right now. Come on. Why isn't this drive popping up? It's like you were fine earlier, why are you not working now? There you go. I'm just waiting for it to show up on the list before I move on. Sure. As long as it doesn't fuck anything up, I think I'm fine. Really, out of that whole thing, I only used 700. That can't be right. Okay, well, while that's going on, I'll continue drawing. What am I doing? Still backing shit up. And then I accidentally bumped into one of my drives, so that one disconnected, so now I've reconnected it and I'm letting it repair to make sure nothing went wrong with it. So yeah, that happened. But other than that though, the drive that I'm backing stuff up on is still going, so good news on that. Okay. So, right now, Gula's expression kind of fits the situation. She's like, oh dear. Hold on, how do you spell them? Huh. Maybe her name's pronounced Gyla because of Guile. I don't know anymore. I just wrote her name the way I wrote it. Okay. Anyway. Make these thinner. this is her expression after seeing me disconnect my drive by accident. She's like, oh dear. Hope everyone's doing alright. Yeah, you should probably like this. She's like, oh no. Get her uniform. Yeah, right now I'm just messing around. Less than 120,000 left. do. Yeah, just doodling for tonight. Nothing big. Because I don't want to stress the computer whenever it'll try to save something big. Because right now I'm backing stuff up. And it's almost done. It's getting towards the end. Do. I'm just grabbing random characters. Yeah, this is Blake's sister-in-law. Used to be her babysitter. Oh yeah, she has 3 siblings. She has an older brother, sister, and 2 sisters. Yeah, let me see if I can grab that page. Should be in here. There we go. Yeah. These 3. Nope. She is the youngest. Yeah, Victoria is the oldest of the 3. And then it's Ambrosia, and then it's Samuel. And Samuel marries Marissa over here. No. This is her foster dad. Let me go grab him. Here he is. This is Blake's foster dad. I'll zoom in a bit on his face. And I'll grab him without the lighting. Oops, wrong one. There we go. Yeah, this is him without the shadow. So yeah, that's her daddy. Oh yes, he is very strict. I don't know why I'm trying to be perfect here. I'm just doodling. Just put this here just so I have a placeholder. Make her look a little evil. She's not actually an evil character, but just a little menacing. I need to draw Blake's sisters, give them their official looks. I need to draw her mom too. Let's grab somebody from over here. Let's do Suyu. I haven't done you in a while. Oh no, her mom is deceased at this point. Like, I'll bring her up real quick. I've only drawn her once so far. Should be in here. As soon as this opens, come on. Thank you. Here we go. Yeah, here's Blake's foster mom. Yeah, she's deceased. Close this. Yeah, I think the stream will just go on for as long as the remainder of my backup is going. So however long that takes. And then once it's done, I'll stop for the night. And then tomorrow I'll do a normal 3-hour stream. Or however long it takes if I try doing the Smasher Pass thing. No, she's Blake's mom's not a burn victim. Basically, in their world, there are some people who have the ability to use like special powers based on using basically energy from their souls, because some people can have special abilities and stuff like that. The problem with Blake's mom is that she was born with basically an extremely high soul aura type of thing. So basically, she, like, as she got older, her power basically increased dramatically, but her body couldn't take it, and so eventually her body just dissolved, to put it lightly. And at the time, there was no good way of keeping her alive. And unfortunately, when she did pass, that was when certain means were being discovered and learned. You should be very lucky that Blake's father does not exist in our world, or he'd kind of take what you said a little bit personal. He would not take that lightly. Though in the story, there were some experimental means of keeping her alive, but she just told everyone not to worry about her into this letter pass. But that's when Blake's father kind of started becoming more heartless over time, because losing his wife just broke him. I wouldn't say exactly a good guy, but just more like he stopped caring once she passed away. So he became a lot more harsh. And if you didn't do things the way he specifically told you to do them, then you would be heavily punished. Like, he is the reason why Blake has all those scars. Because Blake was kind of being a little shit at a certain point, and he wasn't gonna let her coast. But yeah, like, basically the whole point is that he was already, like, kind of a wealthy tyrant when his wife was around, but, like, she kind of kept him a little bit more grounded, and he didn't, like, go as crazy with trying to take over not only other mob bosses, but, like, just companies and stuff like that. But once she passed, he just closed himself off and just sort of did whatever he wanted, or just didn't care anymore. So he does take care of his family, but his family better listen to whatever he tells them to do. And like Blake's sister-in-law, he includes her in, like, family matters too. Like, he doesn't just ignore her because she's not blood related or anything like that. He's like, no, if you're married into the family, then your family doesn't fucking matter to him. And she is allowed to voice her opinions and not, like, have any drawback to it. Like, if it makes sense, then, or whatever, then he'll consider it. Because he's not just gonna have her be there as a prop. Oh, great. I think one of the drives died. What does this mean? I'll have to try to fix it later. As long as it's not the main one that I'm using right now, then I'm fine with it.
Smoother nose. Yeah, mostly just trying to keep it closer to this version. She technically does have eyebrows. Oh, she does not forget St. Patrick's Day. Just gives her more an excuse to drink on the job. Like she really needed one, but better to have one than not. She probably's got like the other strands of hair over here. So like if I erased some of this. The other strand would be like over here or something. I don't know. Again, this is just doodling. It's not like this would be used for anything. Since that's the case, I'll darken this a little bit. Just to give her the whole spookiness. Huh, that was short. She remembers that better than her mom's birthday. No, she remembers her mom's birthday too, because if she doesn't, then her mom's gonna bug the shit out of her. Who is this one? This is Little Dolly Death. She's like a Grim Reaper for children. Let me put her back over here. But like children who've just been in more unfortunate situations. So like that's her with her mask on, and then this is her without it. Let me center this. So yeah, so this is her with her bag on her head, and then this is her when she takes it off. Because she herself was murdered in an unfortunate way, but she ended up becoming more of like a spirit. So yeah. Yeah, she's another adopt. I've had her for a while now. Let me see. Can I check how long I've had her? Let's see, because I drew that. Let's see. I drew it last year in April, but I've had her since should be around here. Ah, here she is. I've had her since November of 2021. Yeah, eventually I'll use more of the spooky characters that I have. There's a number of them. It's another. Ah, yes, this one. Yeah, all of my characters all the characters will eventually get a card for the card game, which I need to work on soon, so I can crank it out. I just need to look at some of the older cards that I'm going to revise for the new format. And then Cookie is fun because I'll show you her original art. Because this was her original art compared to my version. So some of the features I tried to stylize, but I didn't want to like lose the whole point of the character. Yeah, because the original kind of looked like a robotic nanny or like a maid. And so I just took the whole, okay, she's obviously a robotic cook, but made her more like part of a, like, because obviously there'd be more than one. So the one that I focus on is like one that malfunctioned and is more sadistic and crazy. So like maybe the normal ones act like the original artwork, but then the one that I focus on is like the malfunctioning crazy one. It's like, yeah, these were recalled, and now you know why. But yeah, most of the time I try to keep the character's design as much as possible, and then put them into whatever narrative that I've decided for them. Because none of these characters that I've adopted had any backstories. Some of them didn't even have, like, the type of creature they were, so I had to, like, wing it and either make one up or put one that seemed to fit the most. Well, the Reaper Cat, all she was like, I'll show her original art too. Because I'll grab my version. So this was my version. I'll put her over here. And then this was the original. Where are you? And then this was the original. So the person named it Little Death, but since I already had like a death character, I had to like give her a little bit more, just so if there were going to be more than one death character, then she could be a specific one. So she's only for children, whereas normal death is for older people or like just ones who have a different concept of it. So Dolly Death can be one specific for children. So just different takes and ideas of it. But I didn't want to like lose her design and all that. So like I kept the whole, you know, partial bone tail thing, and her wearing a bag on her head and the skeleton part, and then made up a backstory for it all. Because like the skeleton didn't have the flames thing. The flames thing was my idea. Because where is it? Yeah, because I wanted to keep the skull, but I wanted to look more spirity, since it was going to be floating there. And then I tried to keep the floral designs that she had on her underdress, or whatever you call this. So I tried to stick with it as much as I could. And then everything else I pretty much stuck to. Probably could have made some parts less shiny, but I can fix that in the future. Because I think this was during a time where I was still experimenting with some stuff. there's a certain way I went about it. Yeah, the reason why I simplified Kooky a little bit was because some of her hair was just like so many colors. So I tried to ease it up a bit. The hard part is her face patterns, because she has a ton. Like, drawing her for the Creamfield comic was fucking murder. Cancel. Okay, can I go in here normally? Let me just bring up a random artist. Can I look at this? Let's pop up. Okay, cool. Alright, so the drive is not broken. Cool. I will now leave it alone. Okay, only 90,000 more files, and then I've officially backed everything up. And then I'll have to take time to migrate files to different drives. That way they can have more space. I will do that later. Just gonna leave it alone. Oh yeah, like, there's been times where I've had characters who have super fucking complicated designs, and then later down the line when I use them for comics, I sit there and go like, why? Why did I think this was cool? And then my retort to that is like, because it was cool. I'm like, yeah, you're right, it was cool. So, there are characters I have that have bullshit designs that probably don't need to have, that they probably don't need to have, but they look cool, so I keep it that way. So in Kookie's case, it's like, well, I've done worse. Although I will say Kookie's pretty up there with most complicated design. And I just have to, like, not hate myself if I don't make her perfect, or draw her perfectly every time I use her. Because it's like, look, trying to keep everything on her consistent is already a fucking headache. Unless I, like, simplified it more, there's, like, nothing more I could do to her without taking away some of her design. But it's fine. As long, thank Christ I don't have to animate her. If I ever had to animate Kookie, she might as well just be a fucking 3D model at that point. So if I ever dive further into 3D modeling, that will likely be the case with her. Because help me if I ever try to animate her in 2D. If I ever did animate her in 2D, I would have to change her design a bit. I'd have to take away the spirals on her coils. Unless I really felt fucking confident. It'd be ambitious as fuck, but either that or I'd have to, like, learn shortcuts or certain skill or certain techniques to make it easier. But most likely she would be 3D. Although I think 3D would probably be a pain in the ass too if she had the extendo arms. I don't know. She might be a case-by-case character. Yeah, so luckily I'm only using her for 2D stuff for comic stuff, so she could be worse. But I'm glad I got her. She was fun to use in Creamfield. Luckily, if I do a comic with her, she won't be in color. So that'll save me a little headache. She'll be in black and white though, so I'll still have to shade some of her. I'm all looking at this going like, fuck, there's still so many design patterns that she has on her face. Because the main storyline with her was that somebody goes to like an abandoned pie factory where her and the other robots were made, and somebody accidentally turns her on or triggers her, whatever the case may be, and she ends up stuffing them like hell with pie. And it's up in the air on what kind of robot she was supposed to be, like a maid or a grandma or something. I think robot grandma sounds better. Just kind of tossing all this in just because. I'm just having fun with this. Let's see. Oh, mobile acting weird. Easy as pie. Let's draw her. She's a fun newbie. And this one's also another recent one. I'll grab her original art. So this is hers. Only so much information I had to go off of. There's probably easier ways of me being able to draw her that I can experiment with. Fuck it, she gets a cookie. Yeah, she get a cookie. She cute. She adorable. Hell yeah. Chewy Chips Ahoy? Fuck yeah. Best Chips Ahoy. Like, the moment they made Chewy, I was like, oh, thank God. Somebody knew what they were looking for. Those are the best Chips Ahoy. It's like Chewy Chips Ahoy and Nutter Butters. Give me either of those two and I am sold. I miss the Planters cookies. The people that make the that sell peanuts and all that. They had a cookie that was in the literal shape of a peanut, like an actual peanut, but it was made of a cookie, but inside would be peanut butter filling. And it only lasted like a month or so. And they discontinued it. Like, this was like ages ago. I was like, I don't know, maybe between maybe 7-10 years old or something like that. They you know what, let me see if I can find it. Because they were really fucking good. And then they just discontinued it, and it was sad. I think these were it. Yeah, I found it. Let me save the picture. I didn't even know they had other flavors. I just knew they had this one. I'll just put it in here. Open. Yeah, these. I mean, I'll have to look it up. I don't know. Maybe they're not discontinued. Let's find out. Planters cookies. I love how the first thing that pops up, though, is where they discontinued. Damn, they were discontinued in 1995. That means I was 7. I was right. Oh wait, multiple Chris lovers have written in saying that they had purchased in the early 2000s. They're discontinued because they're not enough consumer demand. Okay, yeah. So I guess there were some left that people have bought, but they were discontinued because I guess there wasn't enough demand for them. Damn, that sucks. They were really good. But yeah, these were really, really, really good. I just had the standard peanut butter ones. But yeah, like, I was surprised that they got discontinued so fucking fast. But yeah, I was like, man, Planters had a really good cookie, and then they discontinued it. Oh yeah, the waffles. Their commercials were great. So much Vor. all of their commercials had to do with Vor, and it was great. And I'm sitting there going like, and you're wondering where everybody got the whole Vor idea. Old school cartoons and commercials, they didn't give a fuck. They just did whatever. Nowadays, everybody's so fucking sensitive. That's not entirely true. They still do stuff like that. It's just people complain about it more nowadays. I totally give Okoya peanut shaped cookies. She would just pick them up and then just start snacking once she had enough picked up. Oh, I'm pretty sure there was more than 2 commercials. But yeah, like, all of them had to do with tricking jellies into whatever situation and then they get eaten. And then that's how you had the waffles, because they were full of jelly that they poured. Ah, good times. That's why I always trip out when people are like, "Oh my god, where are these people like this stuff?" And I'm like, if you've grown up in the '90s, you would understand." '90s was full of all kinds of kinks and fetishes and all that. I mean, obviously they're still striving today, but the '90s was the reason why everybody nowadays draws that shit. They grew up with it. That's why people are all like, guys, this is fucking normal to us. Was it weird? Probably. And then older cartoons did that shit too, like, all the time. Nowadays it's like a little spread out. Like, it still exists, but not as in your face as it used to be. Or at least not as hammered in. Like, they'll still show stuff every once in a while in kids' cartoons, but it's like, you'd have to know what you're looking at this point. Nowadays, I think, is more focused on, like, mom bods and stuff like that. Sometimes there'll be weight gain and all that, but it's very few and far between. There was this one cartoon that I saw clips of that people were posting that had to do with some kid who was, like, huffing farts or whatever. I was just like, what is this? It was, like, very on the nose. And I was just like, okay then. Not my thing, but pretty sure it's somebody's. I mean, obviously it was somebody's if they animated it in a kid's show. Yeah, that was a thing. I don't know the name of the cartoon, but that was a thing, a clip that I saw, and I was just like, okay then. Not my thing, but sure is somebody's. And then, of course, you got Totally Spies that did pretty much every fucking kink under the sun. Did it do age regression? Now that I think about it. No, it wasn't Total Drama Island. It was like a 3D cartoon. I don't know. I don't know if Totally Spies ever did age regression, because if not, then that's probably like the one thing they didn't do. Which would be kind of surprising. I don't know. I'd have to look into it to see if it exists. But I would be very surprised if that episode does not exist. Wait, hold on. I think I found it. No, that has to do with their past. Nope. No, that's more chibi, that's not baby. Oh well. If it exists, then it'll show up in like a wiki or something. But yeah, I'd be very surprised if Totally Spies did not have that. Total Drama did have a toddler series, so that's funny. It's like I understand why companies think that's a good idea. It's just kind of weird once you already established like the better version. Because then it's just kind of like, well, we're trying to get kids into the show. It's like, you could do that with the original. You didn't have to like try to go elsewhere. It's basically the same thing with Teen Titans Go, where obviously it's probably easier to do because it's more Flash or whatever the hell they're using to animate it. But I feel Teen Titans Go is a lost opportunity because you have all the voice actors, you can clearly continue the actual show, and they choose not to. So, and it's like, well, we're trying to get kids into it. And it's like, you could do that with the normal show, and it'd be more coherent, and people would know what the hell the characters are for and doing. Because even when they did the crossover with the original Teen Titans, the original Teen Titans even bring up, it's like, yeah, they're like us, but more selfish and stupid. And like, that version of Robin was like just being the total asshole the entire time. Because all he cared about was just trying to be a better Robin than normal Teen Titans Robin. So it was really strange that they focused so hard on that. I'm just grabbing random characters at this point. I need to update this hard. I'll grab you. I found out they finally are releasing support cards for Gate Guardian and Yu-Gi-Oh! I was happy about that. I was like, oh shit, Gate Guardian finally gets fucking support. Like, I think the cards came out like 2 weeks ago. I was like, yes! And there's like a whole bunch of cards from the Paradox Brothers get like retrains and upgrades, and I was like, damn, they went super hard on this. I know. It's like, why to love now? Yeah, Paradox Brothers were great. And now they get upgrades to their Gate Guardian cards, because like basically there's like monsters now where it's like, oh, if you control a Labyrinth Wall card, then other effects can happen. And that doesn't just, and like there's a field spell now called Labyrinth Wall Shadow. So it's like they took Wall Shadow and Labyrinth Wall and made it a field card. And then Labyrinth Wall still counts as a wall card, as a Labyrinth Wall card. So if you have that on the field, then you can still use other effects from the newer cards. Jirai Gomo is now a trap card that becomes a trap monster and has like destruction effects and shit. So, and then Shadow Ghoul is now a retrained card where you can go grab the field card and you can banish it to destroy a card if you control a Labyrinth Wall. So I was like, damn, they went hard on it. And then Gate Guardian's new form is now a fusion monster. So they made it easier to summon Gate Guardian. And then if the fusion monster gets destroyed, you can summon any Gate Guardian card from your deck or extra deck. So they made 3 other Gate Guardian versions, so they're like each of the pieces combined and all that. And then you can also summon the original Gate Guardian from your deck if you just feel like having a powerhouse in place still. So they made it stupidly easier to summon Gate Guardian. And then all of the pieces have their own like functions now, because you can get them back from being banished. You can summon them all to the field. They can all be played as continuous magic cards, so you can still summon Gate Guardian that way. There's so much functionality with them now, so I was like, cool. That'll be super fun to play with once they show up on either Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro or Master Duel. So I was just like, fuck. They made fucking Gate Guardian awesome now. It only took 25 years or however long it was since those cards came out. Because what were they, like the second set in Yu-Gi-Oh! To ever come out? Or something like that? And they never got support once. Oh, it's fine, because like they still make them the same as like the older cards. They just gave them like different abilities and stuff like that. But you can still use the older ones if you feel like it. But the new Gate Guardian definitely helps out the older one. And then it's just surprising that they even did it, because you know they made like 20 fucking supports for, or well, they made like 1 billion supports for Dark Magician and Blue Eyes, but then cards like Gate Guardian didn't get shit for 25 years until now. So I was like, oh, okay, you guys do care. Like, I figured that was gonna happen once the Toon monsters were getting support, but then it was just like, nah, we'll wait another 10 years. Now I'm just like, okay, so we got support for those cards, what next? We already got enough zombie support. Although we could have more, like, Pumpkin upgrade or something. I think Barrel Dragon's already a thing. Trying to think of who else could get some buffs from that time. Oh yeah, we still don't have all the Fairy Tale monsters. What the hell? We're missing Forest Wolf and some of the other support that Leon had. Like, some of his cards did release, but they didn't release all of them. Because I think Cinderella is out, but not Forest Wolf. So I was like, what the hell? I want Forest Wolf. So I want my Vor Wolf. I know, right? It's like I'm on my deathbed, and now And now they're coming out with support for Gate Guardian or whatever card that I'm thinking of in the future. It's like, what, are they going to come out with support for all the big 5 cards? Okay, so the funny part is there are cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! Called Fairy Tail, but they're not the ones that Leon used. I guess Leon's would have to be referred to like the Storybook or Grimm's Fairy Tale cards. Because Leon had like the Big Bad Wolf and all that, and Cinderella and all that. And then what's funny is that there's a actual fairy tale, because there's an archetype called Fairy Tale, but they're a different thing. And there is one of Snow White, but I forget what they call her in English. But she's like the most annoying one because you can banish cards to play her, and then she can flip cards face down and stuff like that. And she can basically just show up from your graveyard just because. And because she's banishing cards to bring herself out, she can power up other monsters that have to do with banishing. So she's an annoyance. But yeah, there's like technically 2 different types of Fairy Tail cards. Technically. Yeah, because there's Fairy Tail and then there's whatever the hell Leon was using. They're technically Fairy Tail cards, but they're not the Fairy Tail archetype. I'm surprised they never came out with the fire creature thing that Bastion had from Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, because he summoned Hydrogeddon and or Water Dragon, and they came out with more support for that archetype because they're like the H2O and Hydro cards or whatever they were, and they never came out with the fire version. Which is kind of interesting, because they teased it in the intro of Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, and he does use fire cards in the manga. I don't know if he used the Fire Dragon specifically, but they teased it, and then they just never made cards of it. Because in the anime, they teased him showing both that he had a Water Dragon and a Fire Dragon, but he never plays the Fire one. Which is probably why in the manga they had him using fire cards instead of the water ones. And then I'm surprised they never animated Yu-Gi-Oh! R. Because if anything, that was more of a direct sequel after Battle City. So that's a whole other thing they could animate. From what I heard, Konami had or whoever the company is, had a falling out with the original animators for Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters, which is why they changed it into the whole kiddie style that they have right now for Yu-Gi-Oh! Rush. At least that's what I heard. I don't know if it's true or not. All Yu-Gi-Oh! Really needs to do is work on their whole negating and swarming problem. There was one game I was playing where it was the first turn, guy summons a monster with like 17,000 attack, and then sacrifices it to gain life points based on its attack. But at that moment, he summons a monster that if he gains life points, I lose life points equal to the amount of life points he gains. So this is all the first turn. So he gained 17,000 life points, and I end up losing 17,000 life points on turn 1. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. Haven't seen that one before, or at least that particular monster, but I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, the games are so fast-paced now that you can't even get... that in some cases, you can't even get past the first turn. So, it has a very big newcomer problem. Because I think one of the biggest problems for Yu-Gi-Oh! Is that because they don't promote other formats very often, or at all, everyone just plays on the advanced format, so they're all playing based on, you know, ban lists and stuff like that. So trying to get a new player into it is very hard because everyone's playing on that mindset. And unless you're playing in a very specific play group where you're all agreed to not use basically the broken cards at this point, then you're most likely just gonna get stomped. Like, there's no middle ground. It's either you play without those cards or you play with them and you just accept that the game's gonna get really fucking toxic, I guess would be the best word to describe it. And that's the part that sucks, because the game is good, but it's like, it's almost like they figured themselves out way too late in terms of balancing, and there's really nothing they can do about it without either retconning a whole bunch of cards, banning a whole bunch of cards, or just accept their fate and not do anything about it, which seems to be the option they chose. Where it's like, yeah, we have a whole bunch of broken cards, we'll just have to slowly ban them over time. Because hopefully they don't go the route of erratating all of them, because I think erratas are the dumb decision. Because they changed cards like Crush Card Virus and Firewall Dragon and all that. Where it's like, I would rather you guys just give me a new version of them instead of taking the original card and changing it. Yeah, like, the weird thing is that they did recently come out with other formats. Like, they even came out with the Deckmaster format and all that. But all they did was just put out what those were, but they didn't promote them at all, so nobody plays them because either nobody knows what they are, or there's not enough people to play it because none of them are being promoted. Because there's like Underdog format, I think there's Goat format. I think Goat is a fan-made thing though. But like, there's other formats that Konami put out, or announced at least, but there's no support for them. Hydrate. Yes, I still have water. Let's see, how many more files? Less than 80,000 left. And according to the thing, it'll take about an hour and 15 minutes or so. So by that logic, it'll be about, what, 3 hours? Because, sometimes the speed depends on the file too, so like if it's saving any of the videos or animations that I've saved, then it'll take a bit to get through those. Hooray, full length stream. Yeah, I'll stop at midnight, but or I'll stop streaming at midnight, but yeah, just chatting for today. But yeah, like, the only problem with Yu-Gi-Oh! Is that a lot of cards ended up breaking the game over time. Because, like, even older cards had that issue where it's like, they weren't broken back then, but they're broken now because of how the game evolved. Which isn't a bad thing. If anything, that's a good thing, because that just means older cards became more relevant. The downside, though, is, you know, what the game is now, where it's barely a two-player game. And, like, if you get past turn 1 or even turn 3, it's just because your opponent couldn't set up your death on the first turn, or they're not playing with a deck that's made to do that. Like, I remember somebody trying to do the cooker strategy. I forget his name, but basically it was a monster that's immune to everything. Or if you do the strategy right, the monster's immune to everything. And so they would play Final Countdown and try to beat me that way. And I ended up just getting rid of their monster. How did I do it? Oh, I remember. They were playing a card to make their monster they're playing Final Countdown to start the card or the effect, but because they had another card in play along with their cook monster, their cook monster was no longer the only card they controlled, and so I was able to destroy him before their card finished triggering, and that's how I beat it. Because I think the cook had to be the only monster, the only card in play, or something like that they controlled. It's 2 in the morning for you. Yeah, it's not. It's almost about 11 for me. But yeah, like, I don't mind the strong cards. I just want the game to be more back and forth. Like, allow the second player to play the game with you. Because, like, I understand the whole point is, like, you set up trap cards to stop your opponent and stuff like that, and, there are monster effects to protect you, blah, 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 blah. But if your opponent can't even play, then what's the point? That's why I like the older ways of setting up a giant shield strategy, where it's like, eventually you'll come up with a strategy that protects you from being attacked or whatever, but that was usually cards that came over time. It wasn't like you did everything on the first turn. It was more of a slow setup. And to me, that's what made it fun. Because you would see cards that were seemingly, just so-so by themselves, or, they're a little bit of a problem when they're paired with another card. But then, once everything got set up, that's when you're like, oh shit, all these cards together do this strategy. And that's what made it fun. But being able to do all of that on the first turn just kind of sucks away the fun, to me. Because your opponent had zero chance of being able to get past that, or do something about it before it became a problem. But, I don't know. That's just me. Maybe I'm overthinking it. Yeah, like, I know eventually my card game will probably have similar issues, but I'll try my best to balance it out as best as I can. And if something does become a problem, then either the card will get banned in like a newer version with like the exact same effect, but just like different requirements or whatever will probably get made. That way the card itself doesn't vanish, but just the restrictions behind it are a little more balanced. But I don't know. I'll cross that bridge when I get there. Just have a sleepy bread. I don't know, boobs would probably be like here. Yeah, none of that would be there. Just gonna get rid of pillow. Oh, this is Bread. She's one of the BLTs. Yeah, I'll bring up the list real quick. I think they'd be over here. So yeah. Oops, wrong side. So yeah, here's the list of the main cream-filled characters. Back to Bread. No worries, have a good night. I'm just dueling until either midnight or when the drive is done backing up. Alright, who's next that I want to do? Oh, this will be on the test tomorrow. I don't even know if the nipple thing was even necessary, because this should be safe to show. Because here's her in a bra, so this is more of the bra, I guess, cone shaped. It's over. Has some design on her bra, but yeah, she has to have pretty decent support. That's why she has a strap over here too, and then the lower support. What I focused on back then. I don't know, I just tried to make it make sense. It also could be just because when I drew it, there was a naked version, so I tried to accommodate for where her actual nips were. So I think realistically, if I were to do this now, I would have two different versions of her boobs. So like one where obviously they're just out and about, and then when she's wearing a bra, have them, you know, squeezed in more. So that way they're not as, or her boobs would be in different positions based on what she's wearing. Becky drawing herself. Make her all ingy. But yeah, nowadays I probably think about the position of her chest more. Actually, nowadays I draw her beak more like this. And nah, the other way was fine. She's going to get blasted on St. Patrick's Day. Yeah, she normally would. I asked for pickles. Asked for no pickles. Yeah, I would just try to be more wary of boob positions and, you know, boob squish and all that. You know, the stuff that you're normally supposed to consider. But I think at the time I was still iffy on drawing over characters to give them the different clothing and stuff like that. So I just, you know, drew over the line art without having to redo the picture itself. But nowadays, I'd probably be more confident in being able to change things like that. Yeah, her ears. This will probably be a little lower. So I'm trying not to eclipse her ears too much. Non-alcohol-free beer. Oh, you'd kiss and lick Becky's chest. She'd probably murder you if you attempted to try. And not just like beat the shit out of you, she'd probably literally murder you. She's like, I don't give a shit if I go to jail, this is worth it. I have not saved this at all. Just to make sure nothing gets screwed over, I'm just gonna save it in here. I'll just call it Doodles. She has the look of like, where is my beer? Or it's like, where's the bottle of vodka that was in the fridge? In the employees' lounge. She's like, I was saving that for lunch. That's a good one. That's a good joke. Yeah, when Becky's on her lunch break, she's fucking getting more wasted than she already is when she's on the clock. Don't worry. She has a very, very minor backstory. She's just a boxer. Though she has to have special straps to put on clothes. Because she doesn't have normal hands. And if she does wear anything special, she probably has help from somebody. From like a friend or something. I just want to show her being a little beat up. She's like, is that all you got? Wiping some of the blood off of her mouth. Zoidberg with claws. I mean, you need a pretty big rubber band, but yeah, it would probably work. And it also depends on the strength of the rubber band and the strength of her hands. Because I don't think normal lobsters would think of doing more strength. I don't know. I don't know the strength of a lobster claw, actually. I'll have to look that up. But since she's more humanoid sized, it'd probably take a little bit more than that. Sometimes you gotta remember that even if the characters are based off of a particular animal, they don't exactly follow those animal rules. So like, for example, Emerald, even though she's a mantis, that doesn't mean she's gonna bite somebody's head off after she has sex. I always found that amusing where it's like, oh no, isn't she gonna bite his head off? I'm like, maybe if she was a regular mantis? But she's not a normal one. Or animal. She's not an animal. Would be the best way to phrase it. Yeah, she is pretty likely to give you a really good smack. But luckily, if she's in the actual sport of boxing, then she'd likely be wearing gloves. Or else she might actually hurt somebody. It's like, oh, she took a hit to the face. And she's like, bitch, is that all you got? She is Nori. Basically, she comes from a pretty poor family. So she always tries to act like she has more money than she actually has. And so she would like steal her parents' like wallets and credit cards or whatever and spend their money on like, you know, luxury stuff like purses and whatever. And eventually her parents have had enough of her trying to pretend that she's rich, so they eventually kick her out. And so she ends up living on the streets. Then she ends up doing escort jobs, and then finally comes across a rich nerd who basically, like, when she first meets him, he pays her to pretend to be like a house pet, like his pet or whatever, and she figures, fuck this, I'm gonna try to marry this guy, which she is successful in doing, and she only marries him for money, but it's like, hey, if all she has to do is marry him, pretend to be a pet for like kinks or fetishes or whatever, and she can live comfortably. So she's pretty much a bitch. She's just a ungrateful asshole. However, she did have to live on the streets for a while, so she did have to do whatever she needed to do to survive during that time. But yeah, she's not very she's not a very good person. Yeah, she is a fairy king, like Joanne is. Not very poggers. Nah, she probably talk shit on you until she realizes that you're wealthy, and then all of a sudden start kissing your ass. She's pretty shameless. But before she got married, she took advantage of a bunch of lonely people who would pay her to do whatever risque thing, and she didn't really give a fuck. And then that's when she met the rich guy, and she's like, oh, hey, hook up with him. Fuck it. Not really. Like, she might have put on a little bit of weight since she got married because she's now pampered. But nothing really noticeable. And then she does have there is a bondage outfit that she has. You can find that on DeviantArt, I think. It's either DeviantArt or Ink Bunny. But she does have a bondage outfit that she wears for her husband during kinky days. Maybe get along with her, who knows? Either that or just wouldn't bother. But yeah, Nori is not not the best to be around because all she cares about is living wealthily, or not coming off as poor. She has hair like other cat characters. She probably needs like special tools in order to operate some of them more properly. I'd have to see it to know if I've seen that cartoon. And looks like my drive is at the animated stuff, so it's going to take a while to back up all that. I think I have room for 2 or 3 more characters. Let's do somebody else. Sure, why not? Yeah, I can draw one of them after this one. This character was originally going to be what I was going to use for streaming, until I decided not to, and just used Becky. This one I've named Sasha, Sasha Mercury, and this is supposed to be a femboy character, so nice thighs, so big thighs, and dressed up more revealing. Haven't decided if they'd refer to themselves as a he or she, so I'm just sticking with they for now. Honestly, it doesn't really matter. But Could see them doing a lot of roommate stuff with another character. Could see this character being friends with Clover. Do. Thank you. Glad everyone's enjoying it. Yeah, Sasha's had bigger. It's like you whip it out in front of Sasha and they're like, is there more? It's like, is that it? If they were like a close friend, they probably wouldn't try to laugh at it or make fun of it or anything like that, but they would definitely be unimpressed. But if Sasha was in a relationship with a person with a small dick, they wouldn't really tease it or anything. They would just make the most of it. Or have fun with toys, you know, whatever works. Sasha ain't gonna give a shit at that point. Sasha's supportive. Who else? Let's see. I'm gonna go use this. I'll bring this up, but this is not gonna be the reference that I'm gonna be using. Let's do Alara. So over here, I'm gonna bring up her other artwork. I'll use the slightly older one though. Thank you for the follow, Trolley Luck. Oh, I didn't even notice the other hydrate thing I got. I will drink that now just in case. But yeah, welcome. Getting closer to ending the stream, but it'll be about another 10 minutes before I do so. Oh, trolley. My bad. No worries. You're not being rude. Yeah, I would say Blake is a little bit of a bad influence on Alara specifically. Just a little bit, nothing critical. She's just going through her emo phase. Which ends up not exactly being a phase later on. I would say Alaric sort of ends up like, kind of like Becky. No, I would say closer to the character Daria, but like Becky would be like the bar, but instead of like alcohol, she just drinks a lot of coffee. And then later on, she ends up wearing like a beanie. Because in school she had a bit of like punk rock hair, but as she got older, she like not exactly mellowed out, but just like became like meh. Gave me funny juice, good lord. No, my character is not based on DuckTales. She's like a mix of several characters. So she's like Daria, Tina Russo, amalgamate of a bunch of animals I like. Mostly I just made her to be an asshole because I made her during a time where I just wanted to vent my frustrations on certain things. And so I just made a character for that. And I didn't intend on using her for much, but then she ended up becoming my mascot character. So now I use her for stuff. Well, at the time it seemed like more of a phase, but then you find out that she stuck with it. Because, it's one of those things where you think kids, are just going through a trend or, whatever emotional moment that they're having, and then it ends up becoming, permanent. Or at least more part of their lifestyle than just a thing that was going on at the time. Something like that, like if somebody saw it, like for example, like I don't know, let's just say female character sees their best friend in a bikini, but then that person liked it more than just oh, that looks good on you type of things. Like, oh, could she be gay, could she be into other things, whatever comes up from that. So in Alara's case, it's just because Alara's supposed to be like really smart, and so she was kind of getting tired of just coasting through school because it wasn't a challenge for her, and so she ended up just becoming more jaded, I guess, or just more meh, everyone's dumb type of mentality. Not exactly the way I want her to look, but whatever. Can always adjust it in the future. And then she ends up wearing glasses because of her types of eyes. Oh, that's okay. Nothing wrong with DuckTales. I like DuckTales. Preferably the original version, but I don't have a problem with the newer one either. Especially since they established that the newer one's an alternate timeline, and they show the originals in one of the episodes. I know, DuckTales. Woo! I don't know, I'll just put Fun Bun on here just because. Yeah, Darkwing Duck, like, I really like the setup they did for that. No idea if they're gonna go anywhere with it though, because they did such a good job setting up a Darkwing Duck reboot spinoff, but I have no idea if they're gonna actually go through with it. I did like that they incorporated the April, May, and June characters from the comics. I mean, different dimension, different timelines, kind of the same thing, honestly. Because all it takes is a change in the flow of events to get to that point, and it might as well be one or the other. They're kind of the same thing, honestly. At least to me, that's the way they're often portrayed. Because all a different dimension is just a chain of events that changed, and then that would just be another flow of time. It's kind of like how with Dragon Ball, when Trunks comes back in time to keep Goku from dying by giving him the antidote to the heart disease. He does that, but it doesn't change anything in his timeline, because that's when you find out time is not linear. Or how you have blue-haired Trunks instead of purple hair. Which, technically, they said that was an error or whatever. They forgot that his hair was a different color. But, in the show, they also established that young Trunks and blue-haired Trunks don't have the same background. So that could also be a different dimension or a different flow of time, whatever you want to go about it. It's essentially just the same thing. Yeah, because the part that they forget is that they're not really changing time, they're just creating another flow of time, or another dimension, however you want to call it. I guess in the case of the differences between a different dimension and a different timeline would just be the era, or like the actual place itself. So like, for example, gods can come from a different dimension because it's their own like unique domain, whereas timelines are more like, you know, start here, go this way, this way, this way, and you got different points in time based on whatever the fuck happened here. Whereas a different dimension would just be, okay, here's the normal dimension, a different one would just be over here doing its own thing. Yeah, exactly. Because it didn't happen the way that the original Future Trunks came about. Because in his timeline, Goku was already dead. And then blue-haired Trunks, in his timeline, Goku got his body stolen and killed his family and blah 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 blah. So yeah, essentially those are literally different timelines, because the chain of events didn't happen the same. So it was weird of them trying to say that Trunks was the same one from before, at least in the beginning. I think they kind of figured out that it wasn't the same and kind of course corrected to a degree. Okay, I think we're done here for today. Let's see. Only 8% left of my drive that needs to back up, but I can let that happen off stream. But yeah, this was fun. I'll probably post these on the sites tomorrow. I'll probably just post them publicly too, just for the hell of it. Just dumb fun. Maybe I'll put their names just so we know who's who. But yeah, this was fun. Thank you everybody for coming. I will stream again tomorrow. I want to do it at the normal time, so 12 p.m. Pacific time. And we'll figure out what to do, whether we play a game or do Smash or Pass with Pokemon or whatever other characters. But yeah, thank you everybody for coming, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Alright? Bye-bye.